Hello everyone. Today we're speaking about alchemical manuscripts. As you know, people were kind of obsessed with creating fake money throughout history, Bitcoin, you name it. And during Middle Ages, people were actually aiming at creating fake gold. Philosopher's Stone is real, but the gold it's producing is not. So my friends from Germany, for example, recreated the real Philosopher's Stone. So it's doing like kind of yellowish substance which resembles gold, but it's not exactly gold, as you know. And people who were into alchemy, they tried to conceal their knowledge, and they created a lot of different symbols to it. But also it was very hard for an adept to memorize the exact set of operations, and then they created alchemical manuals, illustrated ones with different illustrations, like this one, Crowning of Nature. It was created in 16th century, and this manuscript from the Bodleian Library is actually one of the first ones created towards the end of the 16th century. It has 67 illustrations, which allegorically shows the whole process of transmutation of lead into gold. And it has colorful illustrations, as you can see. So people were very interested in this manuscript and tried to copy it. And can I ask Alison for the next slide, and probably next again. Yes, so this manuscript was copied many times in different countries as well, and now we have copies of this manuscript in libraries of Cambridge, London. 7 manuscripts are in Oxford, and also we have it in the libraries in Israel, in Paris, in Rome, in Copenhagen, in Alchemical Library in Yale and New Haven, and so on. So in many different countries. I found out about 55 copies of this manuscript, and one of them is actually very special because it was copied by Isaac Newton himself, who was into alchemy as well. He was trying to get Philosopher's Stone for 20 years. But now about another significant person, and shall we go to the next slide, please? Yes, this is this manuscript. You can see here it's 67 different vessels showing the different stages of the alchemical process. And if we come to the next slide, we can see Simon Forman, very important Elizabethan astrologer, alchemist, physician, and magician, who also sometimes copied manuscripts with his own hand. And this is the case with the second manuscript here. So you can see the wonderful lion and the birds and a sun and the moon symbolizing alchemical substances. So Simon Forman tried to copy it himself. He managed to do that just with 16 images out of 67. And he probably planned to make a luxury copy of this manuscript he probably possessed. So he just had this manuscript as an example. He tried to copy it in color here, but didn't succeed because it was just 16 images. And then he planned to do it in a more elaborate way. And here we can see all 67 circles with planned images. So it was probably an example book, a pattern book for Simon Forman. But he never made a full copy with colorful illustrations, unfortunately. So out of 55 manuscripts I found, 25 are 17th century. So some of them were simplified, and instead of 67 illustrations, they had only 40. For example, this copy is very simple. It doesn't have a lot of text, as you can see, because text in this manuscript is not useless, but not very reliable, because you cannot produce Philosopher's Stone with this text. It's not a recipe. And this is probably why they had all these beautiful illustrations, just to show how to do it. And this one is also 17th century manuscript, a beautiful one with a little bit more text. And texts were actually different in different copies. So text was not the primary thing in Crown of Nature. The image series was. And yes, shall we go to the next slides? This is basically what we're seeing. Maybe next one. Yes, this is the best images from the 17th century copies from Oxford. Oxford has 7 copies, by the way. And can we see the 18th century copies from American libraries, which are really beautiful. So different people possessed and copied this manuscript. For example, Carl Gustav Jung, a very important and famous psychoanalytical scholar, he also possessed a copy of this manuscript, and different magicians from the 20th century also copied this. For example, Eliphas Levi. And even, can we see the next slide? Interesting thing which I found out when I was doing research on this manuscript is that actually it was produced in England in 16th century. So the inspiration for iconographical features of these manuscripts is actually the famous Ripley Scroll, which you probably know from Weston Library videos, or also from Harry Potter films, where it was just in the main hall. And you can see in the scroll many different symbols. Probably it was used as we're using this today, just for demonstration of some alchemical symbols and oral explanation of the meaning. And if we see some of the symbols in the Crown of Nature, for example, this green line, which you can see on the screen, and also you can see the green line here in the scroll, and here as Simon Forman copied it. We can see the same pose, the same design, the same iconography. The green line was a symbol of acidic agent which can dissolve metals. The same thing, similar iconography, we can see on the next slide. This is the famous dragon. Unfortunately, we don't have enough space for the dragon on this table. But believe me, it's here. So we can see the dragon who is fighting the moon, which is silver. The dragon here is green as well, so it's acidic agent which tries to dissolve silver. The same thing we have in Crown of Nature, where a green line kind of dissolving itself in the moon. And another interesting parallel is the blood coming from the wounds in the bottom of the dragon, and we can see the same iconography but with the pelican in the Crown of Nature. It's of course a very famous medieval allegory from the Westerns. So if we can see the next slide, please. Yes, so another very interesting trope and symbol in Crown of Nature is also probably borrowed from Ripley Scroll. So in this part of the Ripley Scroll, we can see different medallions where alchemical stages are coming one by one, each after another. And in some of the vessels depicted here, we can see the birds symbolizing spirit of metal. Well, it's basically vapors you can see during the sublimation. And they're coming up to the neck of the vessel, and then they kind of sublimate and they making a residue in the bottom of the vessel. So symbolically, it was depicted as a bird which comes up and down. And in Crown of Nature, we have 27 of images of this coming of the bird up and then down, up and down again. So probably that's why in this copy, for example, we have only 40 images, because it was not reasonable for all alchemists to depict so many similar images, like 27 images of the same operation, basically. So you can see it's coming down, then up, down again, and 27 times. Yeah, so we can see the connection between these two English alchemical manuscripts. So we can see the next slide. For example, the very important symbol of a toad, which comes from George Ripley. And it was a symbol of prime matter. And we can see it in the Ripley Scrolls many times, for example, here just at the very beginning in the center. And also in Crown of Nature, we see this symbolizing the prime matter, and prime matter has all the 4 elements in it: fire, water, air, and earth, as we can see on this image. So probably, we don't know who was the author of the Crown of Nature, but probably it was a person interested in Ripley Scrolls and trying to get them more systematic, and creating these 67 illustrations. They immortalized alchemy as a series of processes depicted in a very reliable allegorical way, so you can better memorize it and understand how it works. So thank you.